Hello, guys, very good morning. So, today I'm going to read chapter 12 from the Concise Laws of Human Nature. Let me open it again. Okay, chapter 12, Reconnect to the masculine or feminine within you. The law of gender rigidity. All of us have masculine and feminine qualities. Some of this is genetic and some of it comes from the profound influence of the parent of the opposite sex. But in the need to present a consistent identity in society, we tend to repress these qualities, over identifying with the masculine or feminine role expected of us, and we pay a price for this. We lose valuable dimensions to our character, our thinking and ways of acting become rigid. Our relationships with members of the opposite sex suffer as we project onto them our own fantasies and hostilities. You must become aware of these lost masculine or feminine traits, and slowly reconnect to them, unleashing creative powers in the process. You will become more fluid in your thinking, in bringing out the masculine or feminine undertone to your character. You will fascinate people by being authentically to yourself. Authentically yourself. Do not play the expected gender role, but rather create the one that suits you. It is the terrible deception of love begins by that it begins by engaging us in play, not with a woman of the external world, but with a doll fashioned in our brain. The only woman, moreover, that we have always at our disposal, the only one we shall ever possess. Marcel Proust. Keys to human nature. When in love, we become prey to emotions we cannot control. We make choices of partners we control rationally explain, and often these choices end up being unfortunate. And often we repeat the same types of bad choices of partners as if compelled by some inner demon. We like to tell ourselves to in retrospect that when were in love, a type of temporary madness overcame us. We think of such moments as representing the exception, not the rule, to our character, but let us entertain for the moment the opposite possibility. In our conscious day to day life, we are sleepwalking, unaware of who we really are. We present a front of reasonableness to the world, and we mistake the mask for reality. When we fall in love, we are actually being more ourselves. We are more connected to the reality, to the essential irrationality in our nature. In looking at these altered states, we might be tempted to describe them as forms of possession. We are normally rational but person A, but under the influence of an infatuation, irrational person B begins to emerge. At first, A and B can fluctuate and even blend into each other, but the deeper we fall in love, the more it is person B who dominates. Person B sees qualities in people that are not there, acts in ways that are counterproductive and even self-destructive, is quite immature with unrealistic expectations, and makes decisions that are often mysterious later on to person A. When it comes to our behavior in these situations, we never really completely understand what is happening. But the eminent psychologist Carl Jung, who analyzed over the course of his very long career thousands of men and women with stories of painful love affairs, offered perhaps the most profound explanation for what happens to us when we fall in love. According to Jung, we are actually possessed in such moments. He gave the entity person B that takes hold of us the name anima for the male and animus for the female. This entity exists in our unconscious but comes to the surface when person of the opposite sex fascinates us. The unconscious feminine part of the body and the man is what Jung calls the anima. The unconscious feminine part of the body of the boy. Okay. The unconscious feminine part of the boy and the man is what calls the anima. The conscious masculine part of the girl and woman is animus. Okay. The unconscious masculine part of the girl and woman is the animus. Okay. So what I have understood till now is that every male has a feminine quality and every female has a masculine quality. Okay. And these qualities are unconscious. Okay. So Carl Jung called these qualities unconscious feminine part that is in the boy that calls anima. It named by Carl Jung. And the unconscious masculine part which is in the girl or woman is the animus. Okay. Once we become fascinated with a person of the opposite sex, the anima and animus stir to life. The attraction we feel toward another might be purely physical, but more often the person who draws our attention unconsciously bears some resemblance, physical or psychological, to our mother or father. But more often the person who draws our attention unconsciously bears some resemblance, physical or psychological, to our mother or father. Remember that this primal relationship is full of charged energy, excitement, and obsessions that are repressed but yearning to come out. A person who triggers these associations in us will be a magnet for our attention, even though we are not aware of the source of our attraction. Okay, so basically, what I have understood from this, see, but more often the person who draws our attention unconsciously bears some resemblance, physical or psychological, to our mother or father. So basically, what I've understood from this line is that if there is a woman, okay, who tries to make me fall in love with her, so basically she needs to identify and arouse the attraction in my unconscious feminine part that is called anima. Okay. And when the girl will arouse that emotion in me, I will be madly in love with her. Okay. But there is a catch. It must resemblance, physical or psychological, to our mother or father. So basically, let's say the woman who wants to make me fall in love with her, mm, I can see her in the I can see that she has some of my mother's qualities, a few, or my father's qualities. Is it correct? Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. But okay. Remember that this primal relationship is full of charged energy, excitement, and obsessions that are repressed but yearning to come out. A person who triggers these associations in us will be a magnet for our attention. So basically, the girl, if the girl is, trying to make her, to make me her, she needs to first identify my animus. Like, okay, this is the reason why I love my mother or my father. And if she is real, and if she understood that, okay, I can, project this thing in myself, and if the person can see, then he will be fall in love with me. Okay, this is the reason, I guess. And yeah, and the person, and those person who can arouse these kinds of emotions into another person, they are going to be the magnet of attraction. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so to do this, in order to do this, we need to talk to the person first, right? Without talking, I don't know what's gonna happen. So yeah. Because we are not really relating to women and men as they are, but rather to our projections, we will eventually feel disappointed in them, as if they are to blame for not being what he had imagined. Huh. Obviously, if we are projecting some qualities of their mother and father, okay, and we are thinking that, okay, if I project this feeling, the person will be mine. Okay, this is what I'm thinking right now. But the other person's imagination may be the totally opposite, right? If we won't able to succeed according to his or her imagination, then it will end up in, very badly. So we have to first understand, if we think, we have to understand what is the imagination of the other person. If he's thinking this way and I'm opposite of it, then it's better to confront. Okay, I know there may be some kind of conflict, but I think, yeah, it's good, because later on it will, you know later on it will help you to, what to say, later on it will help you to resolve the conflict before it happens. The relationship will often tend to fall apart from the misreading and miscommunications on both sides. Yes, and not aware of the source of this, we will go through precisely the same cycle with the next person. So the best thing is to understand yourself, and the second thing is the understand the other person with whom you are talking with, or with whom you are thinking to move into a relationship. Okay, and it's better to communicate with, it's better to communicate with him, or her, whatever you feel, that will be good enough, I think. Okay. Okay, okay. So that's why most of the times the couple in USA, most of the times the couple, leave each other after so long time. Like, they are married. Hey, wait. What bullshit, yaar. I have seen there are some couples who, who are in a relationship for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, even they are married and they have kids. Still, they think that no, this is not the person whom I love. I mean, how it's possible? Like, it's better to communicate rather than just getting married to a wrong person and having kids, and then, because of our decisions, our child's gonna suffer, right? Hmm. People need to read these books. Your task as a student of human nature is threefold. First, you must try to observe the anima and the animus as they manifest themselves in others, particularly in their intimate relationships. By paying attention to their behavior and patterns in these situations, you will have access to their unconscious that is normally denied to you. Pay special attention to those who are hyper masculine or hyper feminine. You can be sure that below surface lurks a very feminine anima for the man and a very masculine animus for the woman. Okay, so now you want me to uh, keep an eye on relationships on the intimate situation? Like, ew. Wait. Manifest themselves in others, particularly in their intimate relationships. Whoa. I don't think so. This is a good idea, watching other people's, having um, a very good time, and I'm just, whatever, forget it. Second task is to become aware of the projecting mechanism within yourself. Projections have a positive role to play in your life, and you could not stop them even if you wanted to, because they are so automatic and unconscious. But once the relationship develops, you need to have the power and awareness to withdraw the projections so that you can begin to see woman and man as they really are. In doing so, perhaps you will realize how truly incompatible you are, or the opposite. Once connected or to the real person, you can continue to idealize him or her, but this will be based on actual positive qualities he or she possesses. Okay, this is kind of good point. I agree with this. You can accomplish all of this by becoming aware of your own patterns and the types of qualities you tend to project into others. Yeah, that's what I was telling about. Instead of going others and understanding other person, first understand yourself. Like, what kind of love I want, what kind of things I want. Okay. Okay, this is my second task. This is my first task. Second task is to understand yourself and what kind of qualities positive qualities you possess. Okay, and if you are in a relationship, then first you have to, after getting involved in a relationship, you first, now you have to understand yourself and the other person too. Okay, so this is one thing. And first thing is, like, you what is the meaning of their intimate relationships? Like, they are having spending quality times, and they are having some kind of, cuddly, and I'm going in their room and just watching. Oh, that's not gonna happen. Okay, now the third task is to look inward, to see those feminine or masculine qualities that are repressed and undeveloped within you. That assertiveness you desire to see in a man or empathy in a woman is something you need to develop within yourself. Okay, I need to develop myself within myself. Okay. That assertiveness you desire to see in a man or empathy in a woman. Like, what I want to see, like assertiveness I want to see in a man, like in myself, or an empathy in a woman. So this is the quality that I want to see in another person. Then first I have to develop within myself. Okay, bringing out that feminine or masculine undertone. Okay, this is very good point. What you are doing in essence is interest integrating into your everyday personality the traits that are within you but are repressed. They will become part of your everyday self, and people will be drawn to the authenticity they sense in you. Okay, they will become part of your everyday self, and people will be drawn to the authenticity they sense in you. Okay, so people will drawn into me because I'm authentic. That's not gonna happen. I mean, there are some things that I have tried, but it never happened. Okay, gender projection types. Okay, although there are infinite variations, below you will find 6 of the more common types of gender projections. You must use this knowledge in 3 ways. Okay, this is first. First, you must recognize in yourself any tendency toward one of these forms of projection. Second, you must use this as an invaluable tool for gaining access to the unconscious of other people, to seeing their anima and animus in action. And finally, you must be attentive to how others. So there are 5 gender projection types that I'm going to learn. So basically, I must use this knowledge in 3 ways. First is to recognize in myself and any tendency toward the other forms of projection. Like, this is the tendency that I have, and this is the way that I project to the other person. And second is, I must use this as invaluable tool for gaining access to the unconscious part of the anima and animus. And that finally is, I must be attentive to how others will project into you project onto you their needs and fantasies. Better to be aware of this dynamic before it entraps you. Okay. Yeah, it's better to know, like, okay, this is the person, and his imagination is kind of wild and dominating, in bedroom. So if she wants to dominate me, yeah, where I'm going, man? The devilish romantic. Come on, man. Okay, so I think men and women both are covered in this devilish romantic. For the woman in this scenario, the man who fascinates her, often older and successful, might seem like a rake, the type who cannot help but chase after young women. But he is also a romantic. She decides she will seduce him and become the target of his attention. But somehow he is not as strong, masculine, or romantic as she had imagined. She does not get the desired attention, or it does not last very long. He cannot be performed and leaves her. Okay. Reformed. He cannot be reformed and leaves her. This is often the projection of women who had rather intense, even flirtatious relationships with the father. It becomes her lifelong goal to recapture this attention and the power that goes with it. Any association with the father figure will spark the projecting mechanism, and she will invent or exaggerate the man's romantic nature. Okay. Huh? Any association with the father figure will spark the projecting mechanism, and she will invent or exaggerate the man's romantic nature. Hmm. Women in this scenario have become trapped by the early attention paid to them by by the father. They have to be continually charming, inspiring, or flirtatious to elicit that the attention later on. Their animus is seductive but with an aggressive masculine edge. Having absorbed so much of the father's energy, the only way to out of the trap for such women is to see the pattern itself, to stop mythologizing the father, and to focus instead on the damage he has caused by the inappropriate attention he paid to them. Okay, so the first thing I understood. The second thing is a little bit messy, and I think in this paragraph I understood one thing like mm, flirtatious relationships with the father. What do you mean? Like a daughter and a father have a flirtatious? No, 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 no. I think this might be in this way. Let's say I have a daughter. So obviously I'm not going to flirt with her, right? She's my daughter. So what can I do is I can praise her, I can give compliments her, or okay. So when I'm passing these things, she can adopt in her mind that yes, she must be, you know, she must receive compliments, she must receive that kind of attention. This could be one point, and second is what I have understood, like a father and daughter. Okay, a daughter has the qualities of the flirting just like her father. Maybe. Okay, there are two possibilities. I don't know what does it mean, like even flirtatious relationships with the father. I don't want to go in this thing. Okay, and a woman in this scenario have become trapped by the early attention paid to them by the father. Okay, they live to be continually charming, inspiring, and flirtatious to elicit that attention later on. Uh-huh. Their animus is seductive but with an aggressive masculine edge. Okay, so basically, these women want to get dominated by a man. Um, my imagination is getting wild. Okay, let's move to the next one. The elusive woman of perfection. He thinks, like, let's say it is me. He thinks he has found the ideal woman. Although he has had few actual encounters with the woman in question, he can imagine all kinds of positive experiences with her, like having child, getting married, having child, and living a good life. When he talks of this perfect woman, you will notice there's not a lot of concrete detail about what makes her so perfect. Huh. If he does manage to forge a relationship, he will quickly become disenchanted. She's not who he thought she was. She misled him. He then moves on to the next woman to project his fantasy onto. The man prone to this projection often had mothers who were not really there for them, totally there for them. Perhaps such a mother expected the son to give her the attention and validation she was not getting from her husband. Okay, so basically it's a quality that has passed to the person, to the child. Okay, okay. So the man prone to this projection often had mothers who were not totally there for them. Okay, perhaps such a mother expected the son to give her the attention and validation she was not getting from her husband. Okay, the mother not getting the attention from husband, so the mother is not getting the attention to the son. Hmm. That's why son projects the fantasy that is described above. Because of this reversal, when the boy becomes a man, he feels a great emptiness inside that he constantly needs to fill. He cannot exactly verbalize what he wants or what he missed, hence the vagueness of his fantasy. His own anima is a bit dreamy, introspective, and moody. which is the behavior he will tend to exhibit when in love. Men of this type must recognize the nature of their pattern. What they really need is to find and interact with a real woman. Okay, so indirectly it is saying that this quality mostly found in introvert. What they really need is to find and interact with a real woman, accept her inevitable flaws, and give more of themselves. They are too alienated from their own feminine spirit and need to loosen up their own thought process. Okay, I really like this one. Basically, number two, the lovable rebel. For the woman who is drawn to this type, the man who intrigues her has a noticeable disdain for authority. Unlike the devilish romantic, this man will often be young and not so successful. He will also tend to be outside her usual circle of acquaintances. To have a relationship with him would be ever so slightly taboo. If a relationship does ensure, however, she will see a totally different side to him. Despite the tattoos and shaved head, he's quite a conventional, controlling, and domineering. The relationship will break apart, but the fantasy will remain. The woman with this projection often had a strong mm, patriarchal father who was distant and strict. Okay, the woman with this projection often had a strong patriarchal father who was distant and strict. As a girl, she dreamed of rebelling and asserting herself against the father's control, but too often she was reduced to obeying and playing the differential daughter. Her desire to rebel was repressed and went into her animus, which is quite angry and resentful. Instead of developing the rebelliousness herself, she looks to externalize it in the form of the rebellious male. Oftentimes, she chooses a man who is relatively young because this makes him less threatening, less of a patriarch, but his youth and immaturity make it almost impossible to form a stable relationship, and her angry side will come out as she grows disenchanted. Okay, so basically, those women who are disenchanted, they have a strict father. Hmm. Now I got it. Hmm. Once a woman recognizes she's prone to this projection, she must come to terms with a simple fact. What she really wants is to develop the independence, assertiveness, and power to disobey in herself. Okay. Okay. So once a woman recognizes she is prone to this projection. Okay. Okay. She is prone to this projection. Means she will do it anyhow. It's she's gifted with this. She must come to terms with a simple fact. What she really wants is to develop the independence. She has to develop the independence, assertiveness, and power to disobey in herself. Okay. I believe that there are lots of people and parents who are immature right now. I think that is the main case. The fallen woman. To the man in question, the woman who fascinates him seems so different from those he has known. Perhaps she comes from a different culture or social class. Perhaps she is not as educated as he is. There might be something dubious about her character and her past. She seems to be in need of protection, education, and money. He will be the one to rescue and elevate her, but somehow the closer he gets to her, the less it turns out as he had expected. Men of this type often had strong mother figures in their childhood. They become good, obedient boys, excellent students at school, but unconsciously they are drawn to women who are imperfect, bad, of dubious character. They have repressed the playful, sensual, and uh, earthy sides of the character they had as boys. They are too rigid and civilized. The only way they can relate to these qualities is through women who appear to be different from themselves. They project onto such women weakness and vulnerability. They want to help and protect them. But what really attracts them is the danger and naughty pleasures these women seem to promise. Okay. Underestimating the strength of such women, they often end up as their pawns. Oh, their anima is passive and masochistic. My god. Men who engage in this kind of projection need to develop the less conventional sides of their character. Conventional sides of their character. Not having to get what they crave by looking for the fallen woman type. They can actually begin to satisfy their urges with any type of woman, not passively waiting for her to lead them astray, but actively initiating the guilty pleasures. Oh my god. Guilty pleasures. Huh, I kind of like this one too. 4. Because no. The superior man. He seems brilliant, skilled, strong, and stable. He radiates confidence and power. He could be a high powered businessman, a professor, an artist, a guru. Even though he may be older and not so physically attractive, his self assurance gives him attractive aura. For the woman attracted to this type, a relationship with him would give her an indirect feeling of strength and superiority. This type of projection is all too common among women. It seems it stems from feelings of inferiority. Not having ever developed her own strength or confidence, she will tend to search for those qualities in men and exaggerate any traces of them. Many of the men who respond to her like the adoring mention of a woman, often younger, whom they can lord over and control. This would be the classic professor seducing the student. Oh my god, what is happening? Because much men are rarely as brilliant, clever, and self assured as she imagines. This woman either is disappointed and leaves or is trapped in her low self esteem, bending to his manipulations and blaming herself for any problems. What such a woman needs to do is first realize that the source of her insecurity is the critical opinions of others, which she has accepted and internalized. She must actively work at developing her assertiveness and self confidence through her actions, taking on projects, starting a business, mastering a craft. With genuine self confidence, she will then be able to gauge the true worth and character of the man she meets. With genuine self-confidence, she will then be able to gauge the true worth and character of the man she meets. The woman to worship him. Okay. So that is about man too. The woman to worship him. He is driven and ambitious, but his life is hard. He feels something missing in his life. Then along comes a woman who is attentive to him, warm and engaging. She seems to admire him. This is the woman to complete him, to help comfort him. But then, as the relationship develops, she no longer seems quite so nice and attentive. She certainly has stopped admiring him. He concludes that she has deceived him or has changed. Such a betrayal makes him angry. This male projection generally stems from a particular type of relationship with the mother. She adores her son and showers him with attention. She fills the boy with confidence. He becomes addicted to her attention and craves her warm and enveloping presence, which is wants, which is what she wants. When he grows up, he is often quite ambitious, always trying to live up to the expectations of his mother. He chooses a certain type of woman to pursue and then subtly positions her to play the mother role to comfort, adore, and pump his ego. In many instances, the woman will come to understand how he has manipulated. Huh? In many instances, the woman will come to understand how he has manipulated her into this role, and she will resent it. The ensuing breakup will be very painful for the man because he has invested energy from his earliest years and will feel this as abandonment from the mother figure. This man the man in this case must see the pattern of these relationships in his life. What this should signal to him is that he needs to develop from within more of the mothering qualities that he projects onto women. What this should signal to him is that he needs to develop from within more of the mothering qualities that he projects onto women. He needs to be able to care for himself. Okay, got it. The original man slash woman. A common experience for us human is that at a certain point in life, often near the age of 40, we go through what is known as midlife crisis. We crave change uh, and we look for it through a new career or relationship, some new experiences, even some danger. Such changes may give us a short-term therapeutic jolt, this but they leave the real source of the problem untouched, and the malaise will return. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, there are five male qualities. Okay. A common experience for us. Okay, this is done. Let us look at this phenomenon from a different angle. As a crisis of identity, as children, we had a father fluid sense of self. Okay, we had a rather fluid sense of self, but in our youth, we had to shape a social self, one that has cohesive and would allow us to fit into a group. To do so, we had to trim and tighten up our freer flowing spirit, and much of this tightening revolved around gender roles. We had to repress masculine or feminine aspects of ourselves in order to feel and present a more consistent self. But as the years go by, the gender role we play gets more and more fixed, and we begin to sense what we have lost something essential, that we are almost strangers to who we were in our youth. We have become imbalanced, too rigidly identified with our role and the mask we present to others. Our original nature incorporated more of the qualities that we absorbed from the mother or father. What? Our original nature incorporated more of the qualities that we observe from our mother and father, and of the traits of the opposite sex that are biologically a part of us. So, talking about the mother. The return to your original nature contains elemental power by relating more to the natural feminine or masculine parts within you. You will unleash energy that has been repressed. Your mind will recover its natural fluidity, and by ridding yourself of the defensiveness you have in relationship to your gender role, you will feel secure in who you are. This return requires that you play with styles of thinking and acting that are more masculine or feminine depending on your imbalance. Okay. So basically, what I have understood till now after reading this chapter, we have to spend time with ourselves to identify what we really need. That's all. If we are self aware, we are more happy, we can live our life at the fullest. Okay, Masculine and feminine styles of thinking. Masculine thinking tends toward focusing on what separates phenomena from one another, categorizing them. It looks for contrast between things to better label them. It wants to take things apart like a machine and analyze the separate parts that go into the whole. Feminine thinking orients itself differently. It likes to focus on the whole, how the parts connect to one another, the overall gestalt in looking at a group of people. It wants to see how they relate to one another. Instead of freezing phenomena in time in order to examine them, it focuses on the organic process itself, how one thing grows into another. Almost all people will learn more toward one style of thinking. What you want for yourself is to create balance by learning more in the other direction. If you are more on the masculine side, you want to widen the fields you look at. Huh? If you are more on the masculine side, you want to widen the fields you look at, finding connections between different forms of knowledge. Okay. If you lean more in the feminine direction, you need to be capable of focusing and digging into specific problems. Okay. Ta- uh, Tamping down the impulse to widen your search and multitask. Tampen down the impulse to widen your search and multitask. So basically, this is what women thought. Okay, I don't have pencil. I don't want to ruin this. So basically, by reading this paragraph, what I have understood is wait. I want consistency in 2026. Okay, so that's, let me show you how men usually think. Okay, this is men. Okay, this is men, and here they are. They think like this. Okay, and here the woman. And you know how they think? They search broad, very broad, and they do multitasking. So let's say this is a woman and she wants to achieve her goal. This is the goal. But to achieve that goal, they will achieve the goal. So yeah, that's it. Masculine and feminine styles of action. When it comes to taking action, the masculine tendency is to move forward, explore the situation, attack, and vanquish. If there are obstacles in the way, it will try to push through them. It derives pleasure from staying on the offensive and taking risk. Okay, sounds like me. Whatever. When confronted with a problem or the need to take action, the feminine style often prefers to first withdraw from the immediate situation and contemplate more deeply the options. It will often look for ways to avoid the conflict, to smooth out relations, to win without having to go to battle. For those with the aggressive masculine inclination, balance would come from training yourself to step back from taking any action. For those with the feminine styles, it is best to accustom yourself to variations degrees of conflict and confrontation so that they so that any avoidance of it is strategic and not out of fear. Masculine and feminine styles of self-assessment and learning. As two studies have shown, when men make mistakes, they tend to look outward and find other people or circumstances to blame. Okay. On the other hand, men will tend to feel that they are completely responsible for any success in life. Okay. For women, it is the opposite. When there is a failure, they tend to blame themselves and look inward. Hey, this is not true. Huh? This is not true. Not in my case. Not in my case. This is not true. I totally disagree with this point. You know why? See, as a man, what I do, if I get failed. See, first of all, I live alone. Second thing, if I fail in my life, then I blame myself. Yes, it is totally my responsibility that this happened. Number 2 point. Okay, and second, oh sorry, and third is, if I become successful and if I'm in a team or if I'm not in a team, I still give the success. Uh, give the credits to the books, to the people that I'm around, or sometimes even me, because I also deserve some. And then what I have seen till now about the woman, it is completely opposite. No, no. If women get, when they, if women gets failed in something, they do not blame themselves and look forward. They don't do that. I have seen it. They blame others. They blame others. I have seen girls fighting over it. Like, how is it true, man? Maybe there will be. I have maybe I have seen some opposite of it. Okay. For those with the masculine style, when it comes to learning and improving yourself, it is best to reverse the order, to look inward when you make mistakes and to look outward when you have success. For those with the feminine style, it is easy to beat yourself up after failures or mistakes. The introspection can go too far. You need to adopt more of the masculine self-confidence without the attendant superiority. Okay. Masculine and feminine styles of relating to people and leadership. As with male chimpanzees in a group setting, the masculine style is to require a leader and to either aspire to that role or gain power by being the most loyal follower. Men are highly status conscious, hyper aware of their place in the group. The masculine style of leadership is to identify clear goals and reach them. It puts emphasis on results, however, they are achieved. The feminine style is more about maintaining the group spirit and keeping the relationship smoothed out with fewer differences among individuals. Results are important, but the way they are achieved, the process is equally important. For those with the masculine style, it is important to enlarge your concept of leadership. When you think more deeply about the individuals on the team and strategize to involve them more, you can have superior results, engaging the energy and creativity of the group. For those with the feminine style, you must not be afraid of assuming a strong leadership role, particularly in times of crisis. Huh? Particularly in times of crisis. Although women are certainly better listeners, sometimes it is best to know when to stop listening and go with the plan to have opted for. Okay, women are good at listening and they sometimes listen only, and that's when they have to know where best to know when to stop listening and go with the plan you have opted for. Okay, what is most beautiful in Verline man is something feminine. What is most beautiful in feminine woman is something masculine. Susan Sontag. Wow. Okay, guys. So for the for now, I have completed 196 pages. The chapter 12 is done, and in the next video we will read the chapter 13. This one. 8 pages. 16, you can say. Okay, see ya.